Shalom. Today's daf yomi is Sanhedrin Ayin Aleph, Sanhedrin 71. Today's daf is dedicated for Shemir for the Chayalim, Hatzal for the Shvuyim, and Yeshua for Am Yisrael. In its Eis Tzara, the daf yomi tells us on Sanhedrin Ayin Aleph, Amud Aleph at the top, the Gemara tells us, Einu Nasa ben Saramora Ach Yochel Basar V'Yishte Yayin. He does not become a ben Saramora until he eats meat and drinks wine. Tanrabanan achal kol machal v'lo achal basar. Let's say he ate any type of food, but he didn't eat meat with the money he stole, or shata kol mashke v'lo shata yayin, or let's say he drank something, but he didn't drink wine. Eino nasa ben saramura ad sheyochel basar v'yishte yayin. He doesn't become a ben saramura until he eats the meat and drinks the wine. As it says, zoel v'sovei. As it says, the words he is gluttonous, zoel v'sovei. And even though there's no exact proof, there's a hint that it says Ati b'sove yayin b'zole bas arlamo. And it says Kisove v'zolel yoresh ukraim talbish numa. So we see from here that zolel v'sove refers to meat and wine. And Amar Abizera called Yashem b'beis medrash. Whoever sleeps in the base medrash, Torahs are not the slow crime korim. His Torah is going to become like torn by pieces. It means say he's going to forget it little by little, as it says ukraim talbish numa. So now the pasuk tells us, the Mishnah tells us, Ganav Mishalav v'achal b'rshusav. Let's say somebody steals it from his father, Rahmano Litzlan, but then his father allows him to eat this meat, or Mishal Acherim, or let's say Rahmano Litzlan, he steals it from other people. He steals it from other people, and he ate it while he was in. So let's say he stole it from his father and he ate it while he was under the domain of his father, or he stole it from others, and he ate it while he was in the rishus of others, or but let's say he stole it from others and he ate it while he's in the domain of his father. He doesn't become ben Saramora unless you have the following conditions. Once he steals it from his father and he eats it in the domain of others, because that is going to be something that's an easily repeatable offense. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda says he has to steal from his father and his mother. So it says if he steals it from his father and he eats it while he's in the domain of his father, even though that's common, he has easy access to his father's money to steal it, but he's still going to be afraid that it's his father's rishus, so therefore he won't be able to. He'll be afraid to eat it, so we're not worried he's going to repeat it. But if he stole it from others and he ate it in the domain of others, even though he's not afraid because he's not in the rishus of his father, because he doesn't think his father is going to see him, therefore he's going to continue with the action. It's not common. And for sure, if he steals it from others, and eats it in his father's domain, he has two reasons why he's not going to continue. It's not common, and also he's afraid of his father. So when is he chayav? Once he steals from his father, he eats in the domain of others. Because it's common, and he's not afraid. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda Omer Acha Yigno Mishal Av Mishal Imo. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda says he has to steal from both his father and his mother. How do we know his mother? Where does she get any money that he's stealing from her? Don't we say that whatever the father has stolen, the mother is also whatever the mother has, her husband acquires. So Amar Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina Misuda Muchanas Aviv Imo. He steals from a meal that was prepared for his father and his mother. So the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Chanan Bar Mulda Amar Rav Huna Eno Chayav Ad Sheyikne Basar B'Zol V'Yochol. Don't we say you're not liable unless he purchases with the money he stole meat cheap and wine cheap. So not that he steals from an actual meal. He has to steal from money that was prepared for his father and his mother's meal. Or else we say that somebody else gave her the money. And it says to her on the condition that your husband has no rishus over them, has no permission to them. Wrote the emo in wrote. So let's say his father wants to execute him, but the mother doesn't want to turn him over to the court. Or let's say it's the opposite. The father does not want, the mother wants. He doesn't become a ben Saramora until both of them want this. So Rabbi Yehuda says if his mother was not appropriate for his father and his mother, he does not become, for his father, he does not become a rebellious child. My ain't what does this mean? It's not appropriate. And if you want to say that if father wasn't allowed to marry her because it was a punishment by kares or death by cord, so avur. And in the end, what's the difference? He's still her father. And the mother is still the mother. No, but Shaviv will have Kamar. We actually were saying that the mother needs to be Shaviv. She has to be equivalent to her father. And the mother was not equivalent to the father in voice, appearance, and height. Does not become a rebellious child. My time with them does not listen to her voice. I mean, the Kolba Inan, the fact they need to have the same voice, the Kolba Inan, Shavin Marav, the Koma Nami Ben Shavin. So also the voice and the appearance, the height and the appearance needs to be the same. Come on, Oslo Hadatanya, like whom does it like when it states in the Brightsa, Benzer or Morlo Haya will Asid Leos, that there never was and never will be a Benzer or Mora. Why was it written? Only Joshua Kabasar, only to be expounded and to receive reward. Like whom is that like? Come on, Rabbi Yehuda. It's like Rabbi Yehuda's position. It says that the Ben Saramora, that the parents need to be the same in height, appearance, and in voice. So the Gemara says, like Rabbi Yehuda. Or also alternatively, it's like Rabbi Shimon. He did. Rabbi Shimon was this Spencer Mora ate a tartima of meat and drank a half full of wine, Italian wine. I and I talking. I so but the father and mother take him out to stone him. Never was, never will be. Why was it written? Just to expound and to receive reward. Rabbi Yonasan, He says, I once saw him and I sat on his grave. Come on, the Tanya, like whom did it say Iran Dachas or Isa or Sidolios? There never was such a city that was Iran Dachas, a city that has to be entirely destroyed because it worshipped idolatry, and never will be. And just as written in order to receive reward, come on to Rabbi Eliezer, like Rabbi Eliezer. The Tanya Rabbi Eliezer Amar Kol Ir Sheish Ba'afil Mezuzah Achas Iran Dachas Iran Dachas. If the city has even one mezuzah, it will never become an Iran Dachas. My timer, what's the reason? Amar Krav as Kol Shalawat Tekvot Al Toch Rachava Sarafta Beish. Take all of the shalom, the booty, and gather to the square and burn the fire. But keeping the ikam mezuzah low after, and since because there's a mezuzah, you can't destroy it. I saw such an Iran I sat on its mounds of earth. Like whom does it say that the Bayis Menuga, this leprous house, never was and there never will be? Why was it written in order to expound and to receive reward? Like whom is this written like? So Gemara says, come on, Rabbi Elazar bar Rabbi Shimon. The Tanah Rabbi Elazar bar Rabbi Shimon Omer Olam Ein Abayis Tamei Achira Kashtei Krisin Al Shtei Avanim. The house is not going to be considered a Bayis Menuga unless there are two beans, a tsaras mark the size of two beans Al Shtei Avanim on the two stones, B'Shtei Ksalim on the two walls, the Karen Tavas in the corner. Its length is like two grisin, and its width is like one gar. So my time in there, what's the reason? What's a wall that's like walls? This is the corner. And Tanya there was a place in Aza. There was a place in Aza, and they called it the Chorbasa Sagirta, which is the ruins of the Metzora. And that's where there was this Bayis HaMenuga, this house that was destroyed. And Amar Rabbi Shimon, Ish Kvar Ako Pamachas Halachtu Galil, Risi Makom Shematzayna Tov Amram Vanam Menugos Pino Sham. They took these tzaras stones and put them there. So we see that there was a Bayis HaMenuga, a house filled with tzaras, and it existed in Aza, and Aza was called Chorvata Disagirta, the ruins of the Metzora. One of the parents was lame or had an amputee, or was mute or blind, deaf mute. Does not become a ben Soramora, as it states, Shenemar, as it states in the verse, his father and mother grabbed him, and they can't be amputees. So they have to take him out, they can't be lame. And they said to him, Ilman, and they're not mute. Banenu is this son, Sumin. They can't be blind. Doesn't listen to our voice, Russian, that can't be deaf. And Master bo b'fnei shlosha malkin also. They first have to warn him in front of three, and then they give him lashes. Chazav v'kilkol. If he goes back and sins again, nidom be'esrim v'shlosha. We judge him in front of 23. They ain't no nisko, and he's not going to be stoned. Achi shem shlosha rishonim, until the original, and he's not going to be stoned, and he doesn't get stoned. Achi you shem shlosha harishonim, unless the original three are still there in the court of 23. It says benenu zeh. It says this son of ours, zo shalaka b'fnechem. This is the one who you already gave lashes to. Shmas minei ba'in kra. We see from this pasuk that the pasuk has to be filled. We see from this Mishnah that the pasuk has to be filled exactly. So why don't we use this as an explanation for a position of Shmuel, who learned in 45b, whether or not we have to have the pasuk interpreted exactly? No, Shmuel says Shani Yacha. This case is different. The cool kite is there because the whole pasuk is extra. It's meant to be expounded. Or the top of 71b, you have to warn him in front of three. Well, why? The rest of the shots is for 9 from the base of the top. Betray Saga shouldn't two be sufficient? Rabbi says this is how you read the mission. You warn him in front of two and you give him 3 lashes. Malchus ben Sarah Mora Steve. But where does it say you get lashes for a rebellious child? We learned out from the fact. It says in the pasuk, "V'yisru osom, v'yisru," and compare v'yisru by the Ben Saramora to the v'yisru by Motzi Shemra. The Ben Saramora by the Motzi Shemra, and then mi ben, and then we compare Ben Saramora. It says Ben. We learned it out from bin hakos harasha. Vayam bin hakos harasha. So that's a learn out from Xer Shava. Chazar kol nidam uchav gimel. If he does it again, you judge him for 23. So the Gemara says, but what are you talking about? Haimi baile. Didn't we say that we need this already to expound Zevo assuming that this teaches us this one and not blind? And Kain lechto benenu who my benenu zeh shmamina tarki. So we learn out both. It says benenu zeh. It says the Mishnah. Let's say the Ben Saramora ran away before the case was decided, and then his lower beard was filled, meaning he passed the time where he could be liable because he went through adolescence. Potter, he's going to be exempt. But let's say he ran away after the case was decided, and then he grew older, he's liable. If you have a Ben Noach, a non-Jew who did Birkat Hashem, is liable by death. But then after he did it, he converted, he's exempt. Since he changed his law, because there's a different punishment. Because originally it was he would be liable for 1 witness and 1 judge without warning, as the Ben Noach. But once he does it now, he needs Hasrat, Sanhedrin, and 23 and witnesses. So therefore, Nishtana Misaso. So we're going to say Nishtana Dino. That since every Ben Noach is going to be judged with Saif, and if he would do it now, he would get stoning, and so therefore he's going to be exempt because it's a different decision. Name is Saif. Let's bring a proof for this position of Rabbi Chanina. Baruch Hachoning Martina Vakach he keeps Zakin Ataptum Potter. From our Mishnah, that if he ran away before it was decided and then he grew older, he's exempt. My time, isn't it because we say Hol Ishtani? Isn't it because we say that since he has changed, don't we? Isn't it because we say since the law has changed, so therefore we're going to say it's also changed here. Hol Ishtani. Are we going to say that? So the Gemara says no. This case is totally different because if he would do it now, he would not be liable for death. So it's a totally different case. Again, I'm trying to bring a proof for Rabbi Chanina. Tashma. Once the decision was decided, and then he went through adolescence, he's going to be liable. Nigmar Dino. So this is a question against Rabbi Chanina. The Gemara says no. Nigmar Dino Kamras. You say once the case is decided, Nigmar Dino Gavra Katoahu. Then he's already a dead man walking. So of course he's chayav. Another attempt. Don Shema Ben Noach Shikat Chavero Bo Eshes Chavero. Let him Noahide struck his friend and then was with his friend's wife, and it's got a Potter. And then he converted, he's going to be exempt. Arthur came to Yisrael, But let's say he did it while he was so so we're going to say, but also came to Israel, meaning to say if he did this to a Noachide, to a Ben Noach, he's potter. But if he did it to a Jew, Viniskaya Chayev, he's going to be Chayev. Vamai, name a whole Ishtani. Why don't we say if to change it, change? There's a question on Rabbi Hanina. So the Gemara says, no. Why not? Dino Musasa Ba'ina. We need, in order for him to be chayav, we need it to be, in order for him to be potter, we need to have a different din and a different type of execution. Mahai dino ishtani. Here, the case of how he adjudicated is different, but misatza well ishtani. But the case of how he's executed is the same. The Gemara says, wait, Bishlam Rotzeach make Kara Saif, Asha Saif. I understand if he kills a non-Jew or he kills a Jew, it's going to be Saif. In both cases, the execution Ashes Ish, make Kara Saif, Asha Chenek. But for an Ashes Ish, initially he would get Saif, but now if he did it with a Jew, he would get strangulation. So why do we say that? So the Gemara says, Benara Marasa. No, the Bryce is talking about a Nara Marasa. The Edi Beskiwa. It's the same punishment of stoning. No, but it says in the Brisa, if you did it with Israel, that's similar to the case of Eishes Chavero. And they have no Arusin. So the Gemara says, Ella Kala b'chamura meishach shechi. So no, the Gemara said, no, the Kala, the more lenient punishment, Chanek, is included in the more severe punishment of Stayif. And so therefore, it's a different case than even Rav Chanina would admit it. Gemara says, "Mohani chol Rabbanan damri Sayef chamor." That only makes sense according to Rabbanan would say Sayef is more chamor than is more chamor. El Rabbi Shimon damar Chanek chamor ma'ikol memor. According to Rabbi Shimon, it says strangulation is more severe. What we say. Gemara says Rabbi Shimon several katan debei Menashe that says call me samor who named Noach in El Chanek. Rabbi Shimon holds like Tan Debei Menashe, who says that it's always Chanek rather than Noach. Bishlam Eishes Ish Mikar Chanek Ma'asha Chanek. Mar says, I understand. A married woman initially is Chanek, and now she's also Chanek. Al Ritzech Mikar Chanek Ma'asha Sayef. But the murderer initially is Chanek, and now he's Sayef. So therefore, what we say is, Mar says, Kalbam B'chamur Meishal Shechi. No, the more lenient punishment is included in the more severe. So let's bring a proof for Rabbi Chanina. Or let's say the Nara sinned and then she became a Bulgaris. Tidon Bachanek, she's going to get strangulation. The skill in my time ago, why doesn't she get skill? Mishum the whole Ishtani. Is it because when she changed? And so therefore, and certainly by the case of the Berkas Hashem completely changed. Mara says, no, Amalei Rabbi Yochanan Latana, Tanid Tidon Beskila. Rabbi Yochanan said to the Tano, quoted this, change the text to Skila. So now we're going to go to the last mission on the page. Ben Sor Mora, Nidun Hashem Sofa. The Ben Sor Mora is going to be judged according to what we expect him to do. We say Yamud Zakai Vayim Musayim. We want him to die innocent and not die guilty. Shemisasan Sharashayim Hanalahan, because the death of the wicked ones is going to be considered beneficial to them, because we but for the righteous, it's bad for them and bad for the world. And so he'd be able to do more mitzvahs, whereas the wicked one wouldn't be able to do mitzvahs, so he doesn't do mitzvahs, so he dies before he can continue to sin. Yaim v'shena or shayim hanalahan. When the wicked would sleep and when they drink wine, that's good for them and good for the world. But for the righteous, it's bad for them and bad for the world. Pizar or Shaim, when you take away the money from the wicked, that's good for them, and good for the world. With tzaddikim, for the righteous, it's bad for them and bad for the world. Kinas or Sham, assembly for the wicked, is bad for them and bad for the world. And tzaddikim, for the righteous, it's good for them and good for the world. Sheka or Shaim, quiet for the wicked. Is bad for them, bad for the world. But tzaddikim, for the righteous, it's good for them and good for the world. Big shkoyach on today's very powerful daf. Yashakach.